All right, small disclaimer. This is just how I play Tarkov. If you play it differently, good for you. But I do think that this list could help people improve their gameplay, so I'm going to post it. All right, number one, optic placement is absolutely crucial. I think that this is really one of the most fundamental things that every Tarkov player needs to be conscious of. And not only optic placement when you're in your optic, but at every single moment throughout the raid. Have your rifle at a certain level to where you will have the least amount of travel time to get to their head. That's the biggest thing, is always be thinking about where someone's going to pop up. If you're walking down a hallway, they're going to pop up at the end of the hallway or out of a doorway. Something like that. If you're in a field, it's a little trickier, but just try and keep your rifle at head level at all times. And it will take much less time for you to be able to move from where you started to their head than as opposed to if you were aiming at their legs or aiming too high. It just, even if you're aiming too far to the right, going in one flat plane is a lot easier than going up or down. So make sure you're conscious of your optic placement, and that's crucial. Number two, shoot through things. You can shoot through stuff. I don't know why people don't do it that much, but if it's made out of wood and thin and like some sheet metal, you can shoot through it. You can even shoot through some trees. So don't think that when somebody's in cover, if you think to yourself, I bet a bullet would go through that. It probably would. So try it. And especially, even if you don't get the kill, when somebody's in cover and they think they're in cover, and then you start shooting them through their cover, they get scared. They don't know what to do, and now they're panicking. So try it out and just pay attention to what materials are around. A lot of them are really not bulletproof at all. So, yeah, shoot through stuff. Number three, rotate after you get out of your sprint. And what I mean by that is going, instead of just, like, say you need to go down into your optic after you get out of a sprint. What I want you to do is, instead of just holding W and then doing whatever you need to do to stop sprinting and then scoping in, I want you to stop sprinting and then go ASD or DSA and start going in a circular motion backwards or to one side. It doesn't matter. This is going to do two things. This is going to make the transition to your optic feel a lot snappier. I don't know if it's something that happened in this patch or if it was like this before, but it just makes the transition feel so much snappier and a lot quicker, which is always good. And two, if somebody is looking at you and they expect you to continue to be there after you get out of your sprint, and instead of that, you sidestep a little bit, that's going to throw them off. And it's just going to be harder for them to get the headshot and easier for you to get the headshot. So try it out and go into arena to practice it and get better at it. All right, number four, point firing. I think that this is another very fundamental thing to get good at in Tarkov, and I see a lot of people learning and also using lasers. I don't think you should use a laser. There's multiple downsides to using them, and those downsides don't exist within an IR blaster or like an IR laser or an IR flashlight, which isn't visible during the day, but you still get all the benefits of a laser besides actually seeing the dot. This will allow you to swing corners without your enemy on the other side of that corner knowing at what point in the swing you are, where you are, because they can just track that laser on the wall and have a pretty good idea of where you are and what point of that swing you're in. That's going to allow them to pre-fire a lot easier on you, and it's just, I think that using the IR blaster will allow you to come around the corner and still get the hipfire bonus. You can even pre-fire around the corner, but they have no idea at what point in the swing you are, which I think is really important. And also, just lasers as you're running, they go everywhere, and people see you, and now they're swiveling and looking for you. I just think that there's no real reason, and using the IR laser will honestly get you better at point firing than if you learn and get used to using a laser. So that's just my 2 cents. Some people really like using lasers and are probably going to come at me for that, but maybe try using an IR laser. I don't know. All right, number 5, last one. I think that this is something that people do unconsciously or they don't do it. And they don't really realize that they're doing it if they do it. And that's starting to shoot before you've even aimed into your optic. So you see somebody, you're running along, you're walking along, whatever, and you see somebody. A lot of people will scope in, shoot. I think that you should, as soon as you stop moving and get your rifle generally in the direction of that player, start shooting as you're scoping in. This is going to allow for two things. Your rifle is already aimed in a pretty good general direction, so you might get a couple shots off, which will stun him and maybe confuse him a little bit. You might even get a headshot if you're lucky. But another thing that this is going to do is it's a lot easier to transition and spray control to their head than if you were to start shooting and dealt with that initial little kick. If you've already started shooting and you're 3, 4, 5 bullets into the spray, it allows you to transfer up to their head, whether you're too high and transfer down or too low and transfer up. It doesn't matter, and it just makes it so much easier. So this is a simple little thing, but it can really make a big difference in fights. So try it out. And if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate it. Toss me a subscribe if you liked it, maybe a like. And yeah, have a good day. Peace out.